Hi, Claudia here from Create with Claudia. Today I'm going to show you a fun project. Actually, it's two projects. I had a jelly roll and then I had 1 yard of backing fabric, which means it's 108 inches wide instead of the normal 42 inches wide. And I was able to make one bed runner that fits a king size or queen size very comfortably, but it definitely fits our king size bed. And I was able to make a table runner for our dining room table. So out of the one jelly roll and the wide backing fabric, I was able to make these two really nice projects. I'm going to show you how to make the table runner, but the process is the same for both. And I'd love it if you'd hit the subscribe button so you can keep up to date with all of my videos. I try to post weekly if I can. And I'm also on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Create with Claudia, where I post daily. You can see sneak peeks of projects coming up, some fun other stuff that I'm working on. So thanks for watching, I really appreciate it, and enjoy the video. So when I bought the jelly roll, I wasn't quite sure what to do with it. I just honestly fell in love with it, and it was on sale, so that was sort of the extra bonus. It was a really good price, and I don't quilt a lot with jelly rolls, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a go. And I wanted to do a bed runner. I've been wanting to do a bed runner for our king size bed for a long time, and I really loved the colors, these rich burgundies and grays and taupes. And I just thought, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to come up with something. And this is about as easy as you can get. This is the bed runner, and it's already finished. You can see it's got some threads all over it, and you can see the backing. But basically, out of the jelly roll, I was able to make this bed runner and the table runner that I'm going to show you today. Plus, I had enough strips for the binding, and all I had to buy was a piece of 1 yard of backing fabric. And backing fabric is wider than regular quilting fabric. Backing fabric is 108 inches wide, whereas regular quilting fabric is 42 inches long. Now I should tell you a little bit about jelly rolls because I wasn't that familiar with them. I mean, I've seen them, and I had another one that I used for a small baby quilt once, but I really, like I said before, I don't really use them that often. A jelly roll, the standard one you definitely want the one with 40 pieces. It's 40 strips cut 2.5 inches, and I'll show you one here. They're 40 strips. This is a cut one already, but they come the whole width of fabric, so 42 inches by 2.5 inches. They're pre-cut, they come round, they almost look like a cinnamon bun. I think they even called cinnamon buns in some places, but they're pretty much known as jelly rolls. And they're really convenient, especially if you need 2.5 inch strips. And for this, because I use 2.5 inch strips when I'm binding, it worked out ideally. I just used some more of the strips, the jelly roll strips, for the binding. So what I decided to do was I really wanted to show off all the different fabrics. And I went ahead, and when I took the jelly roll, I went ahead and chose the fabrics that I liked out of, this one had a lot of different, the jelly roll that I had a lot of different fabrics in it. And I chose a whole bunch of them, and I just started cutting strips. And I cut strips that were 10.5 inches long. So it's every strip in this quilt measures, or this bed runner measures 2.5 inches by 10.5 inches. It made it simple, it made it measurement simple. You can tailor this bed runner to any size. In fact, as you can see, I'm going to be doing the table runner for you, and that's a much smaller and shorter piece. So once I had the strips that I needed, and if you're making a bed runner, you're going to need 81 strips, cut 2.5, well, you don't have to cut them, you don't worry about the width because they're already cut, by 10.5 inches, and you get plenty of strips that way. And then I just lay them out and I play with them. Now, I'm going to show you how to make the table runner, and it's the exact same process that I did when I made the bed runner. So the first thing you want to do is you want to lay out your strips. Now I will be honest, I've cheated here a little bit. I sort of tested this layout before I started the video. It makes it a little bit easier, and I pinned them together. But for the table runner, you're going to need 8 strips across and 4 strips down, and that's going to give you a table runner that measures 16 inches by 40 inches. So that's a nice table size. That looks nice on a table. And you just lay them out however you like. I sort of alternated between the reds and the taupes and the whites just to give it a little bit of movement. Tried not to get 2 reds together, And one of my rules was not the same. I didn't want to use the same fabric in each section because this is made up of sections. So you have this is one section made up of 8 strips. Then you're going to have another section and so on. So there you go. So this would be one section. And for the table run, you're going to need 4 sections. So then I would take more strips and I would lay them out. And I do this on the floor and I just lay them out and I play with them. I usually even leave them overnight to see, hey, maybe I don't like this. Or I come back the next morning and I say, hey, that really looks good. That's a lot of times how I test out my patterns. So I'm just going to finish this. So you get the idea. You just lay it out. I'm out of the lighter fabric, so I would not keep that red section, but you get the idea of how you play with the fabrics and how they turn out and how they look. You might want to switch some up here. Like I wouldn't have these 2 fabrics in this row. I would have done, in fact there's 3, I just noticed that. So that I definitely would have had. And these are just extras that I was showing you how to lay it out. But once you're done and you like the layout that you have, like this section here, and I'm going to put these aside. You're ready to piece your section. And this is, again, super simple sewing. Now, the one thing you do have to watch when you're piecing these sections together, and one I would recommend, always piece your sections together first individually and then piece the top together, because you can very quickly, can you imagine with the bed runner, you definitely had to stay organized. I had to stay organized. So the way I do that is I will pin in the top left corner of the strip. That's the top strip. And then I sew this strip to this strip and this strip to this strip, and I'll pin that too when I get to it, and you'll see that. This strip to this strip, and again I pin here, and this strip to this strip, and again I pin there. And then I'll take it from there. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to sew these strips together, and then I'll show you what I do next. Okay, so when I take them off of the sewing machine, I'm going to lay them out and keep them in order. So there's my top 2 sections, and now I'm going to piece, well actually let me cut the rest off. So here are the pins. I know what the order they're in, and I sewed them in the order on the machine, so when I take them off of the machine, they're still in order. And then I'm going to piece this section to this section. Now I will be honest, I do not go and press in between. I piece the whole section together before I press. I just think it's easier this way, and because it's such straight stitching, I don't think there's any problem there. So I'm going to sew this section to this section and this section to this section. All right. So again, this was the first section to come off the machine, so that's your top section, and I still have my marker in there. Get those threads off. There we go. Okay. And you can see I still haven't pressed it. So the last thing you're going to do is sew this strip to this strip, and then we're going to have your one section done. All right, So now the section is sewn together. You can see I haven't pressed it yet. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to give you a pressing tip though on this one. You want to press all of the seams to one direction. So all this way or all this way. And what I do with each section is press them the opposite way. That way when they nest together, they'll sew together really nicely and you have a nice, neat, sharp seam. But there's your strip, there's your section, and it's ready to go. Leave the pin in. That's how I know that that's the top left corner. Sometimes I even tear off little pieces of paper, and if I have like section 1, 2, 3, and 4, I would label them as well. But in this case, I'm just showing you this one. So I'm going to go press this, and then I'll show you the rest of the table runner. All right, so this is nicely pressed, and it is ready to go. And we're ready to piece this table runner together. As you can see, I've pressed it all in one direction, and I cheated again. I went ahead and sewed the other sections together for time's sake. So I'm going to show you how I lay this out, and it probably isn't going to fit the whole table runner in the video, but you'll get the idea. So then here was the next section I did, and I've already pieced it. And just to show you, there's my pressing. This one I pressed towards the top, and this one I pressed towards the bottom. So when I sew these together, there's going to be a nice, neat seam there. There's my next section, and there'll be one more section off to the left. Unfortunately, you can't see it. I don't have a real good work surface yet for my videos. I'm working on that. So you can see what the pattern's coming out to be. You can see I alternated the reds and the beiges. Yours is going to be completely different because I don't know what jelly roll you have. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to piece the sections together. So you're going to sew this section to this section, and then the next two sections together, and then you'll piece them together in the center. And then you'll be done. I mean, this is one of those really super easy sewing projects that you get a great result in no time. So I'm going to go ahead and sew all that together. I will show you though how I piece this, how I pin this together, and how it helps to press. So you can see I've pressed in each section into an opposite direction. So they sort of nest together, those seams. And I will pin at each seam just so I get those nice sharp seams. So I'll pin it all the way across here, sew down there, continuing with that 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I'll be back once the whole table runner top is finished. Okay, so here they've been sewn. The two sections have been sewn together, and now I'm going to sew the last two sections, and we'll finish this up. Alright, so here's my finished table runner. Well, not finished, but it's the finished top of the table runner. You can see it here. Hopefully you can see a little bit of it, but there's the 4 sections. I'll go ahead, of course, and press this, and then I would put it together. I'd put a piece of batting in the center and then the backing. And this whole project where I had the one jelly roll and the extra wide backing, the 1 yard of extra wide backing fabric, I even have enough, and let me pull it up here 1 second. This is the same backing fabric. I had enough left over after the bed runner so that I have the backing for the table runner as well. I just had to piece it a little bit. You can see I pieced 2 pieces together so it was wide enough. And I'll use that as my backing for this, so I'll have another reversible table runner. So I'm going to put that together. I will show you the finished product. There'll be a picture of the finished table runner at the end of the video. And that's it. It's a very simple table runner and bed runner to put together. I think it looks beautiful. I mean, what a nice gift for somebody. You could have a matching set for somebody. And after all is said and done, and I forgot to mention for the table runner, I still have binding left over from the bed runner, so I have binding, and I measured it so it's enough to bind the table runner as well. So from the one jelly roll that had 40 strips that were 42 inches long, this is about all I have left. And I got 2 nice pieces out of it. And then from the backing fabric, which was 1 yard of wide backing fabric, 108 inches by 36, this is about all I have. I have a couple of other small strips. I'm not going to bring them out. So, I mean, what better way to use up just 2 pieces, 2 things. And you get a nice little table runner and a bed runner that'll look great in anybody's house. Stay tuned. I'm going to show you pictures of all of the the 2 finished products at the end of the video. They were at the beginning of the video too. I'm going to show you, here's the finished bed runner so you get an idea. For quilting, you can quilt however you like it. However, quick and easy is honestly in the ditch, and I do it lengthwise first and then just go down each set. And I think it's easy to do, it looks good, and then despite this having all kinds of fuzzies on the back, which I need to get rid of, you could easily reverse this, and this could be this would be a nice simple bed runner too as well, and table runner. I hope you liked the project I showed you today, and I hope you give it a try. Especially, I know a lot of people get jelly rolls thinking they're going to make something cool, and then they set it aside and they never use it, so here's a way to use it. If you like my videos, make sure to subscribe. I always love new subscribers. Thank you so much to everybody that has subscribed already. I'm also on social media at Create with Claudia. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you can always check out my work there too. So I really appreciate you watching. Thanks so much, and have a great day.